All right, everybody, welcome to the Service MVP podcast. And my name is Joe Crisera. And today we have a very special guest. My guest is named Michael Bears, and he is with a company called Free2Grow. Michael, welcome to our podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Uncle Joe. It's a pleasure to be here, man.
Well, Michael, I have a special place in my heart for Michael because he is one of my students who has gone on to great things. He is with a company called Free2Grow, and Free2Grow has taken on a service called call by call management as a service. This is where instead of trying to develop your own people to do it, you just hire Free2Grow. And we will show you some of the amazing results that that company has gotten with their beta test and how it is now open to the public for all of you to take on. If you want to get a salesperson who has got a great personality and who can get higher average tickets and also help manage your service team to a degree to make sure their jobs are done right, then you've come to the right place today. Michael, let's start with this thing. Michael, why did Free2Grow get into this part of the business? Why did this something that inspired them to get started with? Why was that?
So Free2Grow started approximately 3.5 years ago. They saw a real need for fractional CSR, DSR, CRM, remote management type of thing. They've had tremendous success with that. They are taking care of approximately 30 plus companies at the moment. Most of those are trades companies, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, garage doors. Then we realized that there is a tremendous need for call-by-call management with this virtual sales platform. So we decided to roll that out end of May, and it's just taken off. So we're having phenomenal success with it.
Well, that's really great. When Nathan and Charlie, who own the company, brought this to me, I said, I think it's a great idea. And I said, of course, I would only be able to help you if you were going to make sure you're using our program, right? So let's talk about the connection between Free2Grow and Service MVP and how dedicated you are to using what we do in your process.
Well, let me just start with after coming back from LA and seeing for myself the whole process and what Service MVP brings to the table. I've been in the trades 24 years. I'm a licensed master plumber. I've owned 4 different variations of service companies that have all done pretty well. And I've been a very high producer the entire time, but I left your training and looked at Michael Munoz and said, I've been doing it all wrong. That I realize now that if I would have implemented this call by call process with the 6 options and the pure mode of service, that I could have easily added 20-30% to our bottom line year over year.
So describe a little bit about what this looks like on a day-to-day basis. So call by call management is like, here you are, a salesperson, and helping to guide the team, the service team. And then you're available to them for sales leads, and you actually make a presentation via Zoom. Give us a little bit of a thumbnail about what this whole thing looks like.
So it starts with a person like me or someone like myself showing up on site. We stay for approximately a week. We meet your team, we meet your dispatchers, introduce ourselves, we show the process, and we start making you money from day one. We start with morning huddles with the entire team. We go over the previous day's calls, and we praise, coach, or solve with those meetings in the morning huddle. So we go over the wins, we go over things we could have done better, and we go over any problems that might have occurred. Then we talk about today's board, what they're all walking into, and make sure that they know that myself or someone like me is going to be available for them in real time for whatever they need. So then as they're on their way to each call, a message gets sent to the technician and says, hey, you're walking into this. I see they're a previous customer, they're a first-time customer, whatever that may be. And basically just pump them up, get them ready to get in the game. And then let them know that we're available, and that as soon as they get on site and see what they're dealing with, what's the size of the system or what's wrong with the plumbing or whatever that case may be, then they're starting to shoot back a text. All right, this is what I found. I'm getting ready to write up some options. While they're writing up their options, I'm watching them write up their options in real time, and I'm correcting them if I see anything that needs to be moved, changed, or reconfigured. And before they present options, when it's warranted, they're going to the client and they're letting them know that, hey, my project manager is going to call you right now because we really feel like you need to kind of see the big picture of what's going on here. And then myself or someone like me calls the customer, basically tells them what's going on. I just talked to Joe. I know he's at your house today, gave me the background of your system. So I would like to jump on a quick Zoom call with you and make sure that you are educated enough to make the best decision for you and your home. And boom, it's been a done deal. We've had no pushback from people jumping onto Zoom. Everywhere from young people to old people are super excited about it. And then from there, we present those options. And if they don't do the replacement, they're going with a repair about 90% of the time. So we're getting something out of each call.
So the idea is the customer sees both things. They see both the repair options and they see the replacement options. And really what you're presenting here is a great service. So number one, the primary focus, it sounds like to me, is that Free2Grow is really focusing on the service and the experience that the client gets is a world-class experience. Does that make sense, Michael?
It absolutely does. That's why we're here, Joe. I mean, we're not here to sell them anything. We're here to empower and educate them and let them make the best decision for their home. It's just that simple. And we're finding that when we do that, 80% of the time they're buying. So,
it sounds almost too good to be true. I get sort of a sales manager, service sales manager, and a salesperson with the same effort, right? And
right,
so during that week you're out there, obviously you're there to get the credibility of the team. And then after you leave there, because you have contact with them every single day and you're doing this, continuing on with this huddle and this type of a situation here after you go back out there, back home, you're available to this team then from that point forward then, right, Michael?
Yeah, correct. So the ideal situation is going to be we onboard for a week. We have some boots on the ground. We meet the entire team. We make sure everybody's on the same page from dispatch, management, technicians, and that they know the call-by-call manager that they're going to be dealing with, and that's all been introduced. So everybody's on that same page there. And then after that, for 2 weeks, roughly, or whatever is needed, then we have aftercare available where myself or someone like me is available along with their call coach so that we're all meeting daily and just maximizing every opportunity.
That is awesome. And so what are the results you get? Does this take away from the service calls that the service guys make, or does that enhance those service calls when it does that? And I know the obvious thing you're going to tell us is that the sales jobs you're selling on equipment replacement and things like that are better. But what about the other part of it there with the service calls? Are those suffering because of your service, or do those grow because of your service?
No, they're absolutely growing. We're finding that instead of getting a basic minor repair, the people are at least choosing that mid-grade option on the repair side as well. Numbers we're showing now is average tickets on repairs are up 20%. Conversion rates on those are up 30%. Average ticket on replacements are up 40%, and conversion rates on those are up 35% compared to national averages. So,
wow, that is amazing. That is really great. So even on the service end of it, so there's two, even though you're paying for one service, which is to get lead turnovers and sell equipment jobs, you get another service for free, which is to get your service team kind of on track. It sounds like to me as well. Does that make sense?
absolutely. Yep. You're not only getting a call-by-call manager, you're getting a mentor, someone that's going to take care of this entire team from start to finish.
And then the management of the project, you teach the guys in the field who are out there doing it to gather the information so that we have all the photographs, videos. Tell us about that project management element after the job is sold. So let's say we sell equipment or we sell a repair. Let's say we sell equipment though, and now you got a $20,000 job you sell or something like that, or and you got you offer financing and things like that for the
Right.
behalf of the company and things like that.
Right.
So all this stuff is wrapped together, and it sounds like a perfect package. How about the part that probably a lot of people are worried about? Who's going to get the project management data so that the installation team can do the job right? How does that work, Michael?
So the way it works is, while the technician is there, they're getting all the videos, the pictures, and basically looking at everything we're going to need if it rolls over to a replacement side. So what we're seeing is, like, for me, being a comfort advisor and being in the field for many, many, many years, you could run 3, maybe 4 calls a day, depending on your windshield time. But each call would take anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours because you're the one that's there taking all the pictures, the videos and measurements and everything else. Well, now we've cut that in half because the technician's there is doing all that. Then the project manager gets online, sells the job. All the information has already been gathered, and then that just gets transferred over to the install team. So we're seeing now that the average time with a client on Zoom is 30 minutes or less.
Wow. So really a great use of time. And how about the other resources? It sounds like this saves contractors a lot of other resources like trucks and insurance. Tell us about the other resources that now contractors, if they were to take on a service like this, wouldn't have to spend. What would that be?
Correct. So anybody that's ever done a breakdown of what it costs to have each truck on the road, a couple of years ago when we did it in the market where my last company was in Colorado, it's $250,000 plus a year to keep that vehicle on the road. That's your licensing, insurance, taxes, salaries, all of that. And we eliminate all of that.
That's
So
amazing.
we're increasing productivity, we're increasing average tickets, we're increasing conversion rates, and we are completely eliminating your need for any of that overhead.
And you're following the total immersion system, the service MVP total immersion system. And so the average sale we did talk about some of the service results you're getting just by monitoring the team. Let's talk about the sales results. You have a beta company you're working with in the southern United States, right? That you got going. This is now we're all talking about actual results here. So let's talk about the average invoice based on what they were doing compared to what they are doing now. How much did the average invoice grow compared to what they were doing before on the equipment?
Average invoice on the repair side is up 20%, and the average invoice on the replacement side is up 40%.
Wow. So on that part of it, you've seen an increase in 40% of revenue in that part of it. And how about selling of service agreements and that kind of stuff? Is that something that's included as well there too?
Yeah, I'm going to say that service agreements are probably up 30 to 40% as well.
Because you're getting a multiple year service agreement being sold now, where before the team might have only sold 1 year of service. You guys are probably averaging 4 or 5 years of service on every time you do an install, where it's even more than that probably sometimes, right?
Yeah, so like the company we're working with now, our premium option is a 10-10-10 year parts, 10-year labor, and a 10-year service club membership. We step down a little bit with each of those, but what we're finding is with this pure mode of service and the service MVP model and giving 6 options, 2 premium, 2 mid-range, 2 economy, about 50% of the time we're never getting past the silver option.
Wow. So people are going for those the premium options more so than they are the economy
Correct.
options overall.
Correct.
Oh, Michael, I tell you what, this is probably a lot of contractors listening to this, and they're probably trying to catch their breath because it sounds, by all means, probably good. But you know how contractors are. You used to be one yourself, you said, right?
Yes.
You can imagine that they might be saying, "This sounds too good to be true," and this is going to cost a boatload of money. Probably you're thinking here, right? Michael, how much is the cost of this program that you offer? Is this a high investment for this? Tell me about it.
So what I would say is like any proper investment, if it's costing you money, we're not doing it right. So our goal is to get in there. And the nice thing about this too, this whole process is once we get boots on the ground to do the onboarding, we're selling from day one. We've got your team connected with the project manager, and you're starting to make money and see the improvements from day one. Whereas we're not pulling anybody out of the field to send them for training and do all of that. So I mean, how much does that cost?
A lot, yeah.
Each client,
Right.
right?
Wow. So basically, you're saying this is a paid for, as with any good service, the client pays for everything, right? And just like they pay for service techs and they pay for salespeople now, would you say if I had to compare this overall expense, if I took a look at the amount of money it takes to onboard somebody, you going out there for a week, you teach the team, you then you probably get a percentage or a piece of the action for when you sell jobs. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Let's take a look at the big picture. How does it compare with what you would pay a normal salesperson?
So industry average right now across the country is sales guys are getting somewhere between 8 and 12%, right? Depending on the volume. And then you have all their overhead. We're charging a flat 12%, and it's going to be perspective based depending on how big the company is and those kind of things. But a flat rate 12%, and we are seeing that you'll see an ROI within the first 4 weeks.
Amazing, amazing. So, And put it this way, there's no truck, there's no insurance, no workman's comp, no have to do HR paperwork and
No HR paperwork,
things
no
like
no
that,
law,
right?
no
No truck,
lawsuits,
no truck, and
no
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 employer.
calls, no calls to your dispatchers saying your guy's driving like a you know what. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
we eliminate all that. And then, as you know, anytime you have more than 5 or 10 trucks on the road, then we have the accident factor that we have to start factoring in.
totally, totally. And then you have exhaustion, and you have the sales guy hanging around your office who's not doing anything, creating chaos there. So basically, it eliminates all that stuff and it creates clarity. And I think the biggest thing I'm hearing here, Michael, is to me what's in my heart. The reason I had you on the show today is because it creates better internal customer service. Because before, when they used to call the owner of a company, he might be busy and they can't get a hold of him, right? And you got a
Correct.
customer who needs help now, and you couldn't get a hold of the owner before, or the salesperson before. He's on a sales call. You
Correct.
are the only purpose of your work is to serve that service team. Correct? Is that correct?
Exactly.
So
Yep.
you serving the internal customer first to make sure the service people have instant access to you as needed, and then on top of that, the customer gets instant access to those prices and those resources as well. And
Correct.
what is the customer feedback? I mean, the end user of that beta company you're working with, you must talk to some of these clients and get to know them pretty well, because that's what we teach, is how to connect
Yes.
with people, right?
Yep.
What are some of the comments that some of those clients are making? If you can kind of share what, the
Yeah.
friendships and the relationships you've made with some of those clients. Tell us about that.
When I first got into this, because the virtual platform is what's very new to me with all this. I've always done multiple options and kind of a call by call management system and those kind of things, but the virtual platform was very off-putting to a guy like me, right? And I was very concerned that homeowners wouldn't buy into it. And the moment they see that initial screen that says this has been custom designed for the Cresera family home, it it's just money. They absolutely love it. It takes away that you're trying to sell me something as into you're trying to help me. You're my friend.
That's really great. And have you had some fun with this, Michael? Is this something you enjoy, you love doing, or tell us, just off the record, personally, how do you feel about doing this job right now?
I absolutely love it. I mean, not only has it increased my productivity, I've gone from 3 calls, 4 calls a day to being able to run 5 to 7. I don't have to leave my home. And again, the customers are just they're phenomenal. So, and for us as technicians or salespeople in the field, half of our battle is traffic, windshield time, and backups and crashes and all those kinds of things. So when you take all that frustration away and you can truly just focus on each call, it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Well, Michael, it sounds great. How do people get a hold of you at Free2Grow, and how do they get information on whether this is a good fit for their company or not? What can you do to help them?
So my direct number is 970-699-0021. My email is mbears, like grizzly, BEARS, at free-2-grow.com. It's also down there in the bottom corner of my screen. And if you want to check out a video, it's a really quick promo of what we're doing with the call by call and what Free2Grow is doing. You can go to www.free-2-grow.com. And that's got a pretty cohesive sample of exactly what we're bringing to the table.
Well, Michael, again, thank you so much for being not only a great student, but also a great ambassador for Service MVP and for Free2Grow. And definitely the day I met you in person, definitely I knew my life got better immediately that day. So definitely thank you for everything you've done to take our program and put it out there in the public, and tell Charlie and Nathan that I'm proud of you as well too. When I see them, I'll let them know I'm proud of you too.
I really sincerely appreciate that. I feel the same. I had always been on the fringes of all these trades groups and a lot of this stuff, and I wish I would have got involved with it sooner, because I have certainly made just a handful of very, very great friends and great resources. So,
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Michael. I'll see you on the next. Well, how about this? We'll have you back on sometime in the future to give us another update as to how things are going. I'd definitely like to hear how the progress is working here, and definitely I'm excited about the turning these positive thoughts into reality and creating a service that's truly like none other that exists in this business. Thank you, Michael, for being part
Correct.
of that. And
Thank you so much.
forging this with the contracting industry. I appreciate that.
Thank you, brother.